Hey folks, welcome back to another edition of Kozo's Coaching Corner, and today we have our first request. Shout out to Jody Urgaitis for the comment asking how do we navigate all of these uneven lies that we see here at Colorado Golf Club. Stick with me and we'll talk about all four of the lies, but most importantly, the one thing you need to do to make sure you give yourself a chance at getting this ball in the air off of uneven lies. The most common flaw that I see when people approach this shot is they're going to grip the club normally and then adjust how far away they stand in order to get far enough away from the ball that the club looks like it lines up properly. So let's get the big one out of the way first. We are going to set the club into its playing position to match the lie and the slope of the terrain before we grip. I'm going to stand as close as I normally would for this shot and let myself fall effortlessly into this natural position. So once I get the height of the handle figured out, now I'm going to make sure the grooves on the club point directly between my feet, and I'm going to move the club into my naturally hanging arm. Now what you'll notice is that takes about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch off of the club. I didn't have to answer the question of how much do I grip down. I let my process answer this for me. Now, once we get to that spot, I can take a practice swing or two. My practice swings tend to be about waist high because I just want to test the ground. And if I can be sure of it in my head that this club is going to match the ground and it's going to play nice down here, now when I step up to the ball, I have this mental confidence that I can let this club go, I can extend towards the ground, and I'm not going to have the heel dig and hit that chunk top left. All of those misses under the sun start to live when we're anticipating a bad result and flinching, and we have that mental tension because the lie is a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to set this to my spot, maybe just a little bit to the right, give it some room to move back to the left, find my balanced position, let my arm hang. Now I'm going to test the ground. Sounds nice, feels nice. Now I can step up, pick the spot that I want the ball to start, and make a nice smooth motion, trying to put my paintbrush on the ground at the ball and follow through. The worst thing we can do here is try to scoop it up into the air. That's true for every shot, especially important for uneven lies. We're maintaining our balance, and being able to put the club down in the right spot is a premium. In summary, the critical error most people make is failing to adapt to the lie before gripping the club. When the ball's above your feet, it's important to set the lie angle and adjust your stance to adapt to each unique lie. Then, slide your hands down the grip to wherever you feel relaxed and balanced. The more lofted the club, the more left the shot will want to go. I like to offset this by picking a target slightly right of where I want my ball to land, then opening my stance with a back of center ball position to increase ball first contact and limit the amount of curve. In your pre-shot routine, rehearse impact with short controlled practice swings to program your desired follow-through and low point control. This will leave you free to extend towards the ground through impact with total mental freedom. Next, let's talk about ball below my feet. That's when the ball is going to be sitting lower than it would if I was sitting on flat ground. This now is about a golf ball below what it would normally be. And here's where we can get caught in the trap of trying to get the ball in the air. Now that is the worst thing you can do with any golf swing, but especially off of these uneven lies. When the ball's below my feet, in order to bring myself down to the level, I obviously can't add club to make it longer. But what I can do is I can widen my stance enough that I feel as though I'm the normal height from the ball without having to drop my knees. Once we start dropping our knees down and we start getting this belt level, that starts to cause this inside path, and now we're going to start coming over the top. And when the ball's below our feet and we're coming this way, that is a recipe for hosels and tops and all kinds of things. This might be one of the hardest lies there is in the game. So how do we accomplish this? What we do is we widen the stance, we match the club to the terrain. This is the number one thing. If I caught you with the title, this is the one thing. The one thing is make sure we're matching the club to the terrain in its playing position, find ourselves with good balance, and go ahead and let ourselves relax with a natural grip. And now with the ball below my feet, we can anticipate the ball might leak off to the right a little bit. I may adjust my aim slightly to the left because I really like the idea of being able to put my paintbrush on the ground and keep it on the ground past the ball and try to find a little bit of uphill. Now I actually have my broom that I've created to help us feel this. We don't want to try to get this ball up in the air and just tickle the grass. That's the last thing we want to do. Once we feel like we've matched the club to the terrain, during my practice swings, the number one thing I'm trying to feel is, can I put this club on the ground in the spot I want to and feel that resistance of the turf, which gives me that good impact position. So if I take a second to line this up, I'm going to line myself up about 10 feet left of the red flag and the picker, set the club to the terrain, widen my stance so that I feel like I'm the right distance from the ball, test the surface. That felt great. So now I can step in here with relative clarity of mind and confidence that I could just make my normal move and the ball's going to do what it does. I hit it a little bit thin, but that fell right on top of the red flag, and my goal is not to be perfect on these lies. My goal is to get out of here and be able to find my golf ball and live to hit it another time. In summary, again, the critical error most people make is failing to adapt to the lie before gripping the club. With the ball below your feet, the ball only moves predictably to the right if the club interacts with the ground as if the lie was flat. So set the lie angle and adjust your stance to adapt to each unique lie, trying to find the uphill. The more lofted the club, the more right this shot will want to go. Offset this by picking a target slightly left of where you want the ball to land and use a back of center ball position while envisioning a low fade to increase your chances of ball first contact. In your pre-shot routine, rehearse this impact with short balanced practice swings to program your desired follow-through and low point control. This leaves you free to extend towards the ground through impact with mental freedom and eliminate those scoops and tops. Now the pure downhill lie will expose the scoopers. In fact, this is a drill that I like to use for the folks who have a tendency to lose their spine angle and try to hang back and scoop the ball into the air. So if you're one of those folks, this is the first one that I would have you try to master. The process will be the same. We're going to match the club to the terrain. We're going to match our shoulders to the slope. We're going to get into our nice relaxed arm hang with a natural grip, and we're, with every fiber of our being, going to try to hit this ball low on purpose. The analogy of putting the paintbrush down on the ground and feeling that pressure on the grass past the ball is going to really make sure that we make solid contact. The most common fault I see is the people who try to get the ball airborne and wind up doing exactly the opposite. They're going to hit way behind the ball, or their brain's going to have that pilot in there that says, I'm coming up short of the runway, better scoop, and they hit the top. So what we want to do, find ourselves in that natural setup, let gravity win the battle as we move down the hill, and really keep those hands forward and drive the ball low. Notice the abbreviated follow through. There's nothing high about this swing. Practice this one if you're the type of person who has chunks and tops. In summary, the critical error most people make is failing to adapt their balance, shoulders, and club angles to match the downhill slope. Let the severity of the slope guide your shot and club selection. On gentle slopes, lofting up one club will counteract the loft lost from adjusting your stance to the lie. On more severe lies, we must accept a low running ball flight and reduced air time. Setting an intention to land the ball in a safe area and chase the ball up to the green or layup area is essential. To adapt for a low stinging fade, play the ball back and open your stance slightly to improve ball first contact. Take a few practice swings where you rehearse having your shoulders in front of your hips and trace the ground past the ball to commit to this low shot. Short game practice with a coach or on-course lessons will really help you understand how to navigate these shots while you're on the course. Last but not least, we have the straight uphill or left foot higher than my right foot lie. Very similar in approach to the downhill where I'm the other way. Now we just have to go through the same process. I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but we're going to match our shoulders to the slope. We're going to match the club to the terrain. And here we have to be very mindful that we're winning the battle of gravity up the hill. The last thing we want is for our hips to slide up ahead of our head. That's going to cause this low point to be too far back, and we're going to chunk it, scull it, hit it too high, all of those things. we can anticipate that the angle of the slope is going to add loft to my club. So if I have 5 degrees of slope this way, my 8-iron is going to be essentially a 9-iron now. So I may have to change clubs in order to make sure I get the ball there. And once we get ourselves set up, same process of letting ourselves relax, because we never have a truly uphill, downhill, below or above lie. It's always a little bit of something. So I'm going to let myself go into this process of drop into my natural swing, or my natural stance, let my grip get on the club naturally, and now I'm going to win this battle up the hill, play it back in my stance a touch to make sure I hit ball first. In summary, for uphill lies, the critical error is failure to adapt to the lie angles and slopes. Shoulders that are level to flat will cause a steep angle of attack that results in a chunk or a band-aid chicken wing top to avoid crashing into the ground. The severity of the slope will decide how much extra loft we've added in our setup. I like to offset the added loft by playing the ball back in my stance and committing to winning the gravity battle up the hill. Choosing the right club to attach to each unique puzzle is challenging at first, so guided practice or on-course training is essential to build confidence on these challenging lies. Well, there you have it, folks. That's my dumbed-down version on how to be more successful off of these uneven lies. Now, Jody, I didn't forget the second half of your question. The question was, how do we do this with longer clubs like hybrids and fairway woods? Now, the first thing I would caution you on is the longer the club gets, the more difficult it becomes. So I would say choose a hybrid or a fairway wood with a lot of loft, like a 25 degree or 7 wood. We're going to grip it down on the shaft a little bit to make sure that we have a little bit more control and balance, and we're going to do our best to maintain this balance throughout our swing instead of trying to hit the hero shot with a 3 wood as far as we can. Now, if you found this information at all helpful, you'd be doing me a huge favor by hitting that subscribe button, sharing it with a friend, leaving a comment, or hitting the like button. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Koza's Coaching Corner.